I was in a really bad slump towards the end of last year until I read this book, which is The Dip by Seth Godin. And it's honestly a very quick read. It's like a 2-hour session and I finished it at one go. But it helped me so much to the point where I created more art already in the first few months of this year than the entirety of last year put together. And as a result, my businesses have been growing as well. Now, when it comes to reading books, I often read and make handwritten notes side by side. Like here, I'm going to show you a screenshot of what my journal looks like. And I take the points that apply to me and my own interpretations of them. So today I'm going to take you guys through those lessons that I've personally taken from this book and how they have helped me be a better artist. Point number one is that, so what exactly is the dip? Now, Seth Godin himself describes the dip as this long slog between starting and mastery. It's this point where you might feel you're in a slump or that you've plateaued, you're not actually seeing progress and things are becoming difficult and so on. And here's the crazy part. That long slog is actually the shortcut to reaching your goals, because no other thing you can do at this point is going to help you reach your goals faster than just putting in the work and going through that slog. Everything else is just going to distract you and take you away. And when I realized that, it made me actually go back to my art and just focus more on just making more art and making it a better quality right there and then. Okay, because it hit me. There is no other shortcut or nothing. The shortcut is the hard work. For example, if you're working on your portfolio, you know that you need to make a few high quality pieces. There's no shortcut, no way around that, no amount of inspiration or reference collecting or anything is going to change the fact that you have to put in the work and get there. Point number two is what woodpeckers know. Seth Godin talks a lot about diversification and how that's a lie that a lot of people believe. So what exactly is diversification? It is that when many people or organizations find themselves facing the dip, they tend to invest their energy into learning and adapting something new altogether, right? For example, with AI coming in, everyone's trying to do that right now and build something AI or change their market model altogether and so on. But if you look at a woodpecker and if it pecks 20 times on 1,000 trees, it gets nowhere, but it still remains busy. Okay, so it's busy throughout the entire day, but it gets nowhere. But if it pecks 20,000 times on a single tree, it gets its dinner. And I could relate to this a lot because when I face a slump, I always try and do something new altogether, or try a new medium, try a new avenue, try another market, all of that. But it is important to just go harder into what you're doing right there and then and stick through it. Okay, there's no other way but to just put in the work and stick with it. So when you're faced with a dip, it's actually important to go harder at what you're doing and stick with it longer. And the next point is going to explain it out very clearly to you guys, at least it did for me. So point number three is that how Arnold beat the dip. Arnold as in Arnold Schwarzenegger, the bodybuilder, actor, governor. So when you look at the concept of weightlifting to build muscle and be fit, right? It's quite interesting because usually the first few reps that you don't do anything but tire you out so that the real growth can happen later. Now, for you guys who are familiar with working out, you know that you might take a weight and try and do 10 to 12 reps with that or any number of reps based on your workout routine. You know that the first few reps aren't really doing anything until you get to the last 8, 9, 10. And that is where muscle building happens. That is where growth happens. You look at most people out and about today, they use all their muscles every day to get up, stand, walk. But why do they not look like fitness people? Why do they not look like fitness models? Why do they not look like Arnold? It is because they have not pushed their muscles to a point of exhaustion, fatigue, tiredness to force it to grow and get stronger the next day. And it's human nature to quit when things get hard. Similarly, when I'm working on an art project, it's normal for me to quit when I reach points of boredom, when I reach points of mental fatigue, when I reach points where I'm questioning myself on whether this is really a good idea or not, or when I'm just tired in general. But it's important to take a break, come back, and do a few more reps and a few more sets. That is what gets you growth. That is what gets you to the next point. And that's what's allowed me to make more than 80 artworks already this year so far, because I just show up every day and I just make an art whether I'm happy or not, or like it or not. It's just become a habit right now. Now, point number 4, average is for losers. Okay, I don't want to be too harsh or anything. I've just taken the title from the book, using that as we go ahead. This is an important lesson because it helped me realize the standards that we need to keep for ourselves. Now, in the book, it is mentioned that you should not accept average or just okay enough for anything. If you catch yourself being average at anything, you need to realize that you only have two options to go from there. Option number one is to quit, and option number two is to be exceptional. So if you're slacking off and being average all the time, you should just quit and do something else. But we are not going to do that. We are going to be artists. We're going to be successful. So we need to be exceptional at what we do. And to be exceptional, it is whatever our current standard is right now. If you're a beginner, do it to the best of your ability right now. You don't have to be as good as the pros. If you're a pro, do it to the best of your ability within the time frame that you have. Okay, I do not mean to be a perfectionist. I do not mean to spend 20 hours instead of spending 1 hour. Maybe if you can spend 2 hours, that's good, right? Set a time frame, do your best within the time frame, get it done and move on. Be happy with what you have done within that limit that you have set for yourself. Do not accept average. Even now, when I come to my artworks and pieces, I'm trying to create better and better quality pieces in that time frame or with the resources I have. I'm even trying to make better quality videos for you guys. And yeah, I'm working on it, and I want to put out the best quality that I can within the limitations that I have. So do not accept average, do not be a loser under those terms. And this lesson hit me because towards the end of last year, I was reaching a point where I was kind of just accepting like, hey, this artwork is good enough, this short form video is good enough. If I put it out, I know it might do well. I just have to get the consistency. I just have to just put things out into the algorithm, all of those things. But no, it is my responsibility to myself to be as exceptional as I can even about that. So I need to bring in that energy. I need to put in the time. I need to make the time for those things. So I cannot just accept being average. Now, point number 5, what is the opposite of quitting? Firstly, when it comes to quitting, you need to decide if this is really something that you want to do and it's worthwhile. For example, do you really want to be an artist? Do you really want to be a creator? Do you really want to build your presence on social media? Do you really want to be a YouTuber? Do you want to be a designer? Decide on that. That's step 1. And then step 2 is once you have that clarity that this is something that you really want to do, you do not change your market when faced the dip. You do not change your profession or your career when you are facing this slump or this dip. You stick with it and you change a product or a feature or a goal or a design or something, and you make some changes within that market. Now, when I read this, I realized that I've been unknowingly doing that throughout my entire art career. For example, when traditional art didn't work for me, I switched and I started learning digital art in college. Okay, when 3D art and VFX didn't work for me, I went to 2D art and started learning animation and visual development. That later on got me into Disney. When I faced a dip there, I started growing my social media presence and also started my own animation studio with my friends. Again, I'm still in the art space. I'm still in the entertainment industry. I'm still in this space. Now that I've entered the social media world, when my posts weren't doing well, I started making short form content and those went viral, got millions and got me to over 1 million followers on Instagram. The opposite of quitting is not just sitting around and waiting for things to get better or doing the same thing over and over again. It is rededication and redirecting your efforts somewhere else. Like the examples I just told you guys, you can do it in so many places if you just understand that if you're on the dip, you need to rededicate something somewhere. The book mentions that the dip is flexible and it responds to aggressive action. So be aggressive about your rededication. Don't just wait and don't just accept the slump. Get yourself out of that, force yourself out of that. Now let's move on to point number 6, which is that quitting in the dip is usually a short-term decision and a bad one. Especially more so when you have decided that this is what you want to do in life. We tend to quit when we reach a moment of discomfort, a moment of hurt, a moment where we are in a slump and we decide that this is not for us. But it's important to stick through that because we often forget or regret the long-term decisions. The book gives us stories of how kids may quit an early karate class or football lessons or something because the coach shouted at them. But they don't realize that they could have probably made a good career about it if they actually loved the sport outside of that and it was their hobby, they did it for fun. But because of a bad coach, they quit and all of that. And that's normal. We do it all the time. We quit art projects all the time. We quit artworks all the time. We quit so many things. More and more these days, I'm seeing a lot of artists quit on their passion, their job, their dream of being an artist because of a momentary thing. Like, for example, AI is now coming to the scene. I can understand it can be scary. It can bring a lot of questions. But if this is what you want to do, there is a way to get through it. And you just have to innovate a little, put in the hard work, get the results. Just don't quit. Now, I have a lot of regrets, which are not really regrets, but okay, let's talk about it. I had initially started YouTube in 2020 and then quit it for a reason I don't even know why. Okay, but imagine if I had continued right now, I would have had 6 years worth of video editing skills, talking to the camera, making content, being a better spokesperson, all of that under my belt. Now, point number 7 is when should you quit? And I'm not going to talk about this because if you have watched this till here and you want to be an artist, there's no quitting. There is no point 7. Just put in the work, get to it. And yeah, that's the end of this lesson. And if you guys enjoy these videos where I talk about my own personal lessons and I put them out for you guys, let me know. I put out a lot more because I read a lot of books. And check out my Patreon because I put out all my lessons there before I put them out on YouTube. Check out my Gumroad for all my art tutorials, brushes, packs, everything. And I will see you guys in the next video.